So in today's video, I'm just going to quickly show you how to get health cover in France. So I've been in France myself for almost 6 months. I still don't have the paperwork. And I used to have what I call a social security number, which is the key thing to get. But still, it's taking a long time. So I just want to give you some tips. So the first thing to bear in mind is that the first 3 months that you are in France, regardless of the progress of your case, if you like, you will not be covered unless you are in a specific case where you come home, you're an expat, or it's a transfer from work, or you have exchanging, health covers with the country you're coming from. For the first 3 months, you will not get any cover at all. But what you do in these first 3 months is quite critical, and I'll show you exactly what to do. Now, so what do you do for the first 3 months? Well, travel insurance, and they have some Schengen type of insurance, and actually I took one of those. I just couldn't believe it. You just pay you just pay once, and you can extend your cover as much as you like. So, but I haven't tried it. I haven't put any claims on it. It was just for peace of mind, if you like. And also, I kept the health cover I had from the country I was coming from, which was Australia, just in case. If something very bad happens, I'll go back. So, what to do to get health cover in France? So, there are 2 types of health covers. There's obviously the basic, what they call Medicare in some countries. In Australia, they do. This is really the basic government-provided process, the government-provided health cover, I should say. And on top of that, you have some private health cover that you need to get on top to give you more cover. And I've explained in another video how good the system here is in France. And actually, yesterday I went to the dentist. They gave me a bill of 500 euros, but they told me it will all be paid back. Part of it by the social security and part of it by the mutuelle, as they call it. But as I still don't have Medicare, I won't be able to. I'm not able to start the private health insurance. But they were kind enough to, I asked them if they could put the invoice date forward. So hopefully there's no one from the French government having a look at this. So, but regardless, I think even if it takes you 2-3 months after the 3 months, let's say like me, they will be able to go back to after 3 months that you arrive in France. To cover you for since that period, if you had any expenses. Okay, so having said that, first 3 months, you need to get yourself covered. What you do as soon as you arrive in France, you need to keep everything that is related to where you stay. From what I understand, for me, they actually checked the customs to make sure that I arrived in December. But you need to be able to keep absolutely everything. If you stay at a friend's place, you need to ask them to write a formal letter saying that you've been living there. And if you stay in a hotel, even you need to keep the bills, the invoice with your name. You need to keep absolutely everything to demonstrate that you've stayed in France for that long. But I'm going to walk you through the Acrobat PDF. I'm going to walk you through the PDF here, and it's very simple. And the French are being given a hard time sometimes with their paperwork, but that's because the social services are so good. 30%. Of taxes go in there, so it's just incredibly generous. So the downside is you have to do a lot of paperwork, but I have found everything that is government related very, very easy actually. It's more the private companies that gave me a hard time. But okay, so here, this is the form. If you look here, there's only 1 page. That's all you need to fill in. It's just incredible. And then you have some explanation here, and I'll walk you through those. So here you just put your basic your basic stuff here. So there's nothing really name and likes, address, the latest address, obviously when you arrive in France, and the likes. But this is the interesting part: is what do you have to show to demonstrate that you've been living in France for 3 months. So if you are from the UE, of course, an ID card, that's all they need. If you are from outside the UE, this is a bit more complicated. You need to obviously have something stating that you're allowed to stay in France. If you're not, it's not a good start. Don't even look for health cover if you're not allowed. Okay. And then on top of that, obviously your passport. The next thing that they want is a birth certificate. So you should have really a birth certificate, and a very formal one. You know, they say with a cachet living. So you need to be able to have a very formal, authentified one. So passport, birth certificate. And if you do a photocopy of your work, but I said we'll go into the most basic stuff. So I think if you have working here, I think that'll be much easier. You can work with your employer. Now, to justify how stable your stay is in France, if you don't have a job, okay? So this is all this here. It's specific cases. So let's assume you're not into one of those specific cases. But this is where you need to concentrate. This is what you need. And yeah, if you stay somewhere, you know, the proof that you have been living in France for 3 months, and this is what I was saying, you know, this is a rental contract, energy bills, water, not mobile phones, it's not going to work, water bills, not mobile phones, hotels, anything that you can provide. And if you are living with someone, family member or a friend, you have to ask them to give you an attestation sur l'honneur. Otherwise, they're not going to have any honor left. So, and this is what actually I was saying at my sister's. I mean, I said, and once again, I hope nobody's listening to this, but to simplify, because I stayed to several places, I said that I was living at my sister. She was kind enough to say, yeah, whatever, Ben, give it to me. And she signed. But also I had to ask her to give me some bills, some water bills, some bills that were actually attached to the house. This is key. You need to have bills that are attached to the house. And then when I bought something, I'm renting something, I can give my own stuff. But this is just if you staying somewhere else, just anything you can do to prove it. But what is as far as bills is concerned, what is important is. So all the rest is good. If you have kids, you need to do this and all that. So that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that they are very, very, very difficult and critical with the fact that the bills need to cover the 3 months. And they tell me for every month, December, January, February, March, you need to prove that you. And I thought you needed to give an invoice for each month, but for my sister, for instance, she gave something from August, I think, to March. So she had one there. So the assumption, unless she moved and came back, the assumption was yes, she was there during that time. So that was sufficient. Having said that. I said that was sufficient, but in my specific scenario, 5 months after, which is actually 2 months after I made the request, I still have nothing in my hand. There is something to bear in mind. This is a phone number that you can call, but the phone number, and they are very kind, and you don't wait for a long period of time, at least where I come from. And in my next video, I'll tell you more about where I am staying. Is that they are very kind and patient, and they are willing to help. But unfortunately, it's a different process. You know, they remind me of in soccer, the fourth referee is there sitting beside the coaches. He cannot do anything, but he just keeps them at bay. But they cannot really speed the process. They are here as an in-between, as a proxy between the process. So at least it's good to have someone very nice. She said, oh yes. And I said, but they said they will call me, but they didn't. And she said, oh yes, I will call you if they don't. And so good intent. So this is it. So hopefully after try and error, you can progress. So a tip also that I've heard, and I've done it myself, is when you send your forms, do it with recommendé with a signature, so to make sure that you can demonstrate after that you have sent the paperwork at that time. But you absolutely need to cover yourself. Obviously, I come from an insurance background, so I feel like covering yourself is very important. Although the Medicare will be able to go back to after 3 months, if your file is accepted, they'll be able to go back. But unfortunately, the private health insurance, I don't think they'll be able to do that. So this is it. A very practical session today, but that's what we need sometimes. When I moved, I was ready for this. I was ready to have to fill a lot of forms and the likes, but it's always surprising. But as I was saying, the government for me was quite easy. It was more the private insurance and likes. But I don't want to go back into this. I went on this and this. I'm talking to my 20 subscribers now. 20 subscribers. This is fantastic. I have another channel where I have almost 5,000 subscribers, but it's not the same. It's just a technical where I talk about stuff. But here, I'm talking about my experience, and it's much better. Okay, so to my 20 subscribers, including maybe 2 or 3 family members, I'll talk to you soon.